Trump is unpredictable. When you look at the standard stock kind of politician in this life, Trump is more unpredictable. And for the battles that Trump is trying to fight in this life, that unpredictability is something that is actually useful to him. Because if Trump is unpredictable, that means the people who are competing against Trump, the people who want to take Trump down, the people who want to maybe kill Trump, take him out of the presidency, the role of being president of the United States, those people who really don't like Trump, who want to get rid of him, the thing that Trump has is he is unpredictable. And if someone's unpredictable, that means it's difficult to get a read on them. It's hard to formulate a plan, a strategy that's going to allow that competitor to effectively neutralize Trump. And we know this from sport, folks. If you've got a very unpredictable, let's say in the world of boxing, if you're a boxer and you're fighting against another boxer, but this other boxer, he doesn't have this kind of very easy to read, pattern heavy style. Let's say this boxer that you're fighting against is really unpredictable. Even he doesn't seem to fucking know what he's going to do when he gets into the ring. That makes it difficult for you to prepare for that boxer. Because if you're a boxer and you're fighting against someone, what are you looking for? You are looking for patterns. You're trying to recognize patterns. Because if you can get a sense, a general feel for how it is that this boxer fights, you'll be able to read their patterns and then come up with a counter strategy. And so whenever that boxer falls into their regular pattern, you'll be able to counter it in some way that he didn't see coming. Now, what happens if you're unpredictable as a boxer? Well, if you're going into the ring against someone who is unpredictable, it's very difficult to prepare for that. It's more difficult to prepare for that type of fight than it is for someone who has very obvious patterns in how it is that they box. It's easier to come up with a game plan to take down that other boxer if you are more predictable. But Trump is like an unpredictable boxer. He goes into Venezuela. Who saw that coming? Honestly, folks, who saw that coming? Who thought that Trump would go into Venezuela in the way that he did and whip out Maduro? Sort of keep the same regime in place, but just take out the head honcho. Who saw that coming? And then we've got this war with Iran and Israel and the US. How long is it going to go on for? Who knows? Whenever Trump bombed Iran last year, a lot of people didn't see that coming. And it's the same with Cuba. What's he going to do in Cuba? I don't know what he's going to do. I don't know what the actual strategy is going to look like, because Trump says a lot of stuff. Sometimes he follows through, sometimes he doesn't. He's unpredictable. This is the whole thing about Trump. He spun people a yarn in the run-up to the election. Mass deportations. The Epstein files. Trump's son was out talking about the Epstein files. He never shut up about them. And then when it actually comes to it, what do you get? You get this absolute mess with regards to the release of the Epstein files. Why was it like that? Fuck knows why. I don't know why. Trump has his own agenda, and his unpredictability allows him to conceal that true agenda from his adversaries. In other words, he doesn't want to give his adversaries patterns. He doesn't want to make himself predictable. That is one of Donald Trump's greatest strengths, we could say, his unpredictability. Because the more, quote, irrational he seems, the more, quote, off his rocker he seems. Don't make this mistake that people frequently make, folks, by thinking that politicians are idiots. We did a show on this here on the channel. Are politicians idiots? Of course they aren't. Politicians have agendas, folks. They have agendas that are self-interested. Agendas that are going to benefit them first and foremost. Not you, regular citizen. The Cuban people, they are fucked at the moment. The regular citizens, they're in a pickle. It's a mess. The country is just a mess. Cuba is in a crisis. The regular person is in a pickle. But the head honchos, the rich, wealthy elites and politicians, I'm pretty sure that they're okay. And this is the thing, all politicians, doesn't matter whether you're in Cuba or the United States, all politicians have agendas. They aren't idiots. It's like anything, folks. Some politicians are more skilled than others. Of course. But what you can't deny is they have ascended a political dominance hierarchy. And when you get to the height, when you get to the peak, we could say, of a political dominance hierarchy, it's super competitive up there. And you've got people who are competing against you, trying to knock you off your perch, trying to outcompete you, trying to remove you from your position of power and influence. Trump is in this exact same position. He has an agenda, and he may sell you the idea that he's off his rocker and irrational. I don't buy that for a second. He has an agenda. What is his agenda? I'm not exactly sure. What I'm pretty sure of is it's self-interested, it's self-serving. It's going to, first and foremost, enhance the existence of one Donald Trump. And you see, you dipshit, you are in worship mode. You think Trump is like the second coming of Jesus. And you worship him, and you lick his hole, and you justify everything he does or says. You're a lost soul. You're going to get exploited. You're a dipshit. Don't want to deal with you. For those of you that are irritated at Trump, and for those of you who perhaps think politicians are idiots, they are not. He has an agenda. Trump has an agenda. I'm not exactly sure what the agenda is. We could speculate. All we would need to really do is look at his adversaries. Look at the people who don't like Trump. And we kind of know who those people are. We have a fair idea who Trump's, quote, enemies are. They are probably those same people that tried to put him in prison. You know those people that tried to put him in prison? That dragged him through the courts? You know, some of those people might go into that category of people who don't like Trump, want to see him gone. So Trump has an agenda, is what I'm trying to say. And what Trump has as a very important thing that goes in his favor is unpredictability. Because, as I've already said, when you're unpredictable, it's hard to plan for an unpredictable person. You're never sure what it is that they're going to give you. There's no easily recognizable patterns in their behavior. They seem erratic, irrational. That's the perfect cover for an agenda, which Trump has. He has an agenda. There's no question about that, as does every politician. And so, knowing that Trump is unpredictable, and surely you must know this, unless you are a brown-tongued arse-licker who just thinks the sun shines out of Trump's rear end 24/7, 365 days a year. If you're not one of those people, then you should realize Trump has an agenda. Now, by pure fluke, sometimes that agenda of Trump's might overlap with yours. It's not because Trump particularly cares about you, it's just because his interests, by fluke, have overlapped with yours. Great. You've extracted perhaps some benefit from some of the things that Trump has done since he has become president of the United States. Okay, great. You shouldn't be carrying around this deluded notion, though, that he's working on behalf of you, first and foremost. No, he is not. Now, let me just say, that doesn't make him a bad person. It doesn't, in and of itself, make him a bad person, just because he's self-serving and self-interested. As I've already said, to climb a political dominance hierarchy, and not just climb it, but stay there, and continue to be competitive is extremely difficult to do because your adversaries, your competitors, want your spot. Donald Trump's the President of the United States. Is there a more globally recognized position in our world? President of the United States? Think what the competition's like for that spot. There are people who want that position of power and influence that Donald Trump currently has. They want to see him gone. They are competing ferociously for that spot or that place of influence and power. So Trump has to. He has to use one of his greatest assets, which is his unpredictability, to conceal his true agenda. Because by concealing the true agenda, it makes it more difficult for people to pick up on patterns and as a result, launch an effective counterstrike. Now that you know this, you should be aware that Trump has an agenda and he's unpredictable. Now that you know this, please don't be one of these people that when Trump decides to do something in Cuba, because it's probably coming, folks, something's going to happen in Cuba. There's a current crisis. There's an energy crisis at the moment. It's a mess. The country's a mess. The citizens are getting really pissed off about this, as you would expect. Something's going to happen. Trump's talking. He's saying about how, well, you know, Cuba's had a good run of it. But, you know, they're on borrowed time. You know, he's giving all of these indications that sooner or later, the US cannon is going to turn towards Cuba. And knowing how unpredictable Trump is, it shouldn't surprise you if this happens. It really shouldn't. You shouldn't be in a position now where you're turning on the news and going, oh, but Jesus, he's done something in Cuba. You know, he's out in the Middle East with Iran, and now he's doing something in Cuba. Ah, God, it's you shouldn't be having that response. You should not be investing your time, energy, and attention, which is finite. You shouldn't be investing that in something that you know is likely to happen. It should not surprise you if Trump does something in Cuba. If Cuba is next on the menu, oh well. You should ask yourself, do I have a private army and military? Because if you don't, there is nothing that you can do about this. There's nothing you can do. And so as a result, if you actually can't do anything about Trump's unpredictability and what it is that he's going to do, how this war with Iran's going to play out, what's he going to do in Cuba, is he going to invade some other country in the world? Who knows? If you can't actually do anything, number one, about Trump's unpredictability, and number two, if you can't influence him, which you can't, in case you didn't realize, let me ask you something. Are you a donor to Donald Trump? Did you donate hundreds of millions to Donald Trump's election campaign? Have you been funding Donald Trump's organization and operation? Are you donating a whole bunch of money? Do you have Donald Trump's phone number? Do you have a direct line with Donald Trump? Do you have leverage over Donald Trump? No, no, no to all three of those things. You don't. And better still, you have no way to actually impose force onto Donald Trump because you are a peon and a peasant, just like me. We are all peons and peasants. We don't have military-grade weapons and an army to literally give our words significance, because if we don't have any way to back up our words with force and potential violence, you're not going to get anyone's attention, let alone the government, who does have a military and a nuclear arsenal and a whole bunch of missiles and big guns. And so, you need to ask yourself, why the fuck am I investing my precious, my finite time, energy, and attention into something that I can't influence? If Trump does something in Cuba, I can't influence this. And something probably is going to happen. Because Cuba seems like it's getting to breaking point. Something is going to happen, probably.